Welcome to Quit to Win, the show where we explore the moment people had to let go of all destructive pattern, limiting identity, and the internal battle to rebuild their life with purpose and clarity. Our today's guest is Mike Hubbard, Chief Revenue Officer at Banbridge, founder of the Seed Advisory, and a seasoned commercial leader with more than 25 years of experience across technology and cybersecurity sales. He has built and led high-performing sales teams across the UK and Europe. That scale new businesses line up from the ground up and becoming a driving force in AI-enabled revenue operation. Alongside his commercial career, Mike has served more than 20 years in British Army Reserve, a combination that brings a rare blend of discipline, clarity, and straight-in talking leadership to every room you walk in. At a defining moment was what made him staying was no longer an option. In his words, a lot of deep thinking and support from family. It's a pleasure and honor to have you on the show, Mike.
It's good to be here as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. So, Mike, 25 years of building revenue agent inside other people's organization is a long time before launching something of your own. What had you been sensing for before actually taking the deep thinking that finally surfaced?
So I think I was, I always think of it being as institutionalized in British Telecom. I was there for 20 years and, I got my pension, salary, and I could see that it would see me through for the rest of my career. But at the same time, I think I knew there's potentially other options out there. However, I was always scared to make that move. And people always talk about grass is greener on the other side. And you're worried about actually, what if I leave this and then it's not greener on the other side?
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. So I think that it took me a while to make the decision. But then once I did make that decision to move, I realized that actually when you're in a business so long, you actually become quite good at what you're doing. And then that knowledge you've got is actually quite valuable outside that company as well.
Yeah, once you become stay long, particularly for a long time, that particular knowledge becomes so valuable, not just the company alone, but for other similar industry out there. Yeah, amazing. You have said that your family support was part of what made the decision possible. What did leaning on the support require you to quit? The self-sufficiency, the identity, or I have got the exposure, or in order to let people in?
I've got you. Yeah, I mean, my wife, my family at the time, I was umming and ahhing about what to do. And I was really conflicted because I'd had a job offer. I'd only gone out to the market because there was changes happening at BT. And I wasn't really thinking I would definitely move. But then the offer was too interesting to turn down. But at the time, my wife was also pregnant. So we had a new child on the way. And I was a bit worried about changing the status quo, but she was 100% supportive and made me realize that it was worth taking that leap. So knowing that I had her behind me, and then I knew that it was something I should go for.
Yeah, amazing. Having that support made it easier for you to easily make that decision. And now more than 2 decades in the British Army Reserve, alongside a commercial career, is an unusual combination. What did military service teach you about knowing when to hold a position and when to move? And how did that apply to the decision to build a seed?
Well, I think that the time I've spent in the army has been a big part of my life. I joined the regular army back in, don't know when it was, but when I left college, when I was 21. But then I left early because I picked up an injury and I had every intention of going back. But then I got a job at BT. I got a career and then decided to join the Army Reserve instead. So I joined the Army Reserve and it taught me a lot and I progressed through the reserves. And the thing with that time is it makes you do things and try things that you wouldn't normally try. It's all about developing your courage and your ability to adapt to new environments and try new things constantly. And I think that lays a seed inside your mind that new things aren't scary. They're just something you've got to handle. And I think that definitely contributed to my ability to make a move that was going to be a life-changing move for me.
Amazing willingness to try something that, is not something you usually do before taking the big step. And also, you launched a seed advisory to support early stage founders who need to grow fast but don't have sales leadership experience. What did you have to quit assuming about what founders already knew before they could build something genuinely useful for them?
Okay. The the thing with starting up my own business was another leap, really, because once I'd left BT, I then had a good career further with other businesses, but these were employed roles where I'd moved from a company called Netitude, LRQA, and then another company. And through that time, I was testing different environments. I was learning sales in different ways. I was leading sales teams, developing different departments and growing business. And all of that was new experience for me, on top of what I was doing with BT as well. And going back to the point I made before about when you're doing something day in, day out, you don't realize actually how much knowledge you're accruing because everybody else around you is doing something similar. So you think, you're just the same as everybody else. You're just doing the same thing as everybody else. Then I had a point where my existing employer terminated that employment, and it put me in a position where I needed to do something quickly. And that then pushed me to, do I go back on the market to find another job, but knowing that the market could take me a month, 2 months to find a role, or I could start something myself and start doing some consultancy work. By this point, I'd already started doing a bit of board advisory work on the side with one company. So I just wanted to expand that. And then I ended up with 3 clients quite quickly, which was kind of validation to, okay, well, actually, this is possible. Yeah. So the leap is worth it.
Yeah, amazing. Having to be quiet. Yeah, Fired actually made the leap possible and make the leap worth it. Yeah, amazing. And now you split out your time between a seed and leading a full commercial transformation now, embrace using AI revenue operation. What is the hardest habit for a seasoned sales leaders to give up when AI entered the picture?
Okay, well, I'm currently just working as Exceed at the moment. I finished my role with Van Brace a few months back. But what that's done is throughout the time I was there and also with VoxMind as well, I've been keeping my eyes on what's happening in the world of AI, right? And what we're finding is that the speed AI is moving, it means that a lot of tasks that you would normally be doing as a sales individual can now be speeded up. A lot of people say automated, but you can now see the automation coming through, right? My inbox is full of it all the time. Yes, it's getting to me and I'm opening it, but I can see it's automated. And the challenge you've got now with AI is how to use it efficiently to improve sales performance, improve sales outreach, and improve your close rate, but without producing a load of AI rubbish all the time that people are just going to get in their inbox and delete.
Yeah, you have to learn how to maximize it. I think this is really a whole lot to actually get to learn here. AI is actually more like, a whole lot of innovations, and with the speed that's very, very fast, and it could actually more like help us in greater level of productivity if we actually more like look deeply into it. Yeah, amazing. And also you have built our new business line from scratch, restructure struggling ones and navigating what you call the messy middle, where most founders get stuck up. What is the most consistent things you had to quit in each of those turnaround before anything else could improve?
The challenge with founding and starting a business is that most founders aren't salespeople. Most founders aren't a marketing expert. Most founders are very good at building something. They're very good at finding a problem that they've got expertise in, and they can fix that problem. But then when it comes to selling that, they aren't proficient in the skills needed to scale sales. Now, they can do initial sales because it's their baby. They know all about it, so they can take it to people initially and they can sell it because they're so passionate about it. But once you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales and you're trying to run a business, you can't then keep on top of that pipeline of sales because you're trying to deliver, you're trying to sell, and you're trying to run a business at the same time. Now, when they then come to scale that business, they then just think, I can just hire a salesperson, or I will just pay for some advertising. But they don't grasp the concept of sales from getting the basics set up. What's your sales process? Where's your collateral? Who's your ideal customer profile, right? Who are you going after? So how do you actually target your sales operations? How do you hire the right people? But then what are the right people you need? But also what tools do you need? How do you get contact information? How do you do outreach? All of these things that you need to understand. Now, you can burn a lot of money and a lot of time by trying to do things but getting them not right. Whereas if you get somebody in to advise you on where to start, you can make sure you've got those basics right, because you can go out and hire a salesperson tomorrow. But the problem is when that salesperson lands, they're going to say, right, what am I selling? How am I selling it? Who am I selling it to? How am I getting paid? Right? Are you paying me commission? All of these things that they probably haven't thought about. And all of a sudden, because the problem is you've got to keep that salesperson as well, right? Because decent salespeople can find jobs. So if they land in your organization and you haven't got everything for them, or they don't feel like they're part of the business, then they'll walk and then you're back in the same position again. So you need to get people invested in your business. So you need to be selling your business to customers, but also selling your business to potential employees as well, so they buy into it. But you've got to set them up to succeed. And if you don't do that, then you're off to a bad start.
Yeah, most founders, and they are not salespeople. And these just people, so founding something, that is one thing. Being more like having salespeople and having knowledge of what sales it is, it's really key. It's having to kind of involve a whole lot of salespeople at the beginning of it, so that when you get to employ, they already have the structures to run with. And they already have something. Yes, this is really amazing. And also, you talk about blending discipline and curiosity in leadership. What does a leader who has both look like on the hard days compared to one running on discipline alone?
Sorry, could you say that again? I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah, so you talk about blended discipline and curiosity in leadership. What does a leader who has both look like on the hard day compared to one running on discipline?
So if a leader has curiosity and discipline, what does that look like? Right. Okay. So the thing with salespeople is they have to be curious, right? If you're not curious in sales, you won't succeed. Because you can have a salesperson that's very disciplined, and they will send their emails and they will make their phone calls and they will get meetings. But then when they actually speak to a person who is interested in that product, a prospect, if they are not curious, they will not move forwards. Because by being curious, yes, you're asking questions, but then they could say something you think, you know what, actually, there might be something else there. Let me just dig into that a little bit more, because that curiosity you've got then engages and pulls them into the conversation and starts to get them invested in your product. If you're just doing a list of questions saying, have they got budget? What's the sign-off process? That's just a list of questions. You're not being curious. Whereas if you're using your own mind to maybe dig into this and understand more, then you're being curious. So you need to be disciplined, but you've got to be curious as well. Any sort of person in a leadership position needs to demonstrate that to their team, so that everybody does the same thing.
Yeah, amazing. How being a salesperson, having to be curious and disciplined, help a long way owing to the fact that when they engage our potential customers, they could actually explore, those way where those particular problems affect potential customers, be able to navigate it and pitch the product to them in a more effective way, other than just following the sales pitch, which might not be a kind of which might not be the same for every customer. Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, and also because you have to identify those pain points, right? You've got to find, why do they need your product? What pain have they got? And that only comes through questioning, and which leads you to being more curious about the problems they've got and the challenges they have as a business.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. And also, you have hired a whole lot of salespersons and developed framework for spotting a player. What is the most expensive hire you ever made for wrong reasons?
Well, so I suppose the most expensive hire is always your sales leadership, right? From a purely sales perspective, that comes down to the individual talent. Now, I always go through a process which is to hire people for the right reasons, creating a scorecard, right? What skills do you need? And then questioning them on those particular skills. Now, take away all of your emotion, right? Because this person that you're interviewing could be, this is a great person. They're really chatty. I love it. I enjoy talking to them. They could be fun to work with. But do they actually have the ability to lead your team or deliver your sales results, whatever it is, against the requirements you've got? And you need to do that and be quite rigid with it. And then also check for other elements like their fit into your business from a culture perspective, to make sure that they're not going to be upsetting all of the team, etc. Now, if you find somebody that has got those abilities, then they're in that higher bracket where you'll pay them, right? Because you pay for talent, and they're the highest priced employees that you would hire, which I've hired previously.
Yeah, amazing. This is really lovely, especially when you just make reference to the fact that you actually do hiring those who are going to be the sales leaders, in that everything rises and falls on them, and every other person that are going to come into being the one that are going to set the great roles, having the potential or the ability, make it easier for a good hire compared to when you get to factor in those particular things before accelerating that. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, thank you so much. This is really amazing. And also, cybersecurity is crowded. Cybersecurity is crowded, noise in space, where most companies sound the same. What did you have to quit doing in how you position and communicate value before the right client could actually eventually hear? What made something different?
Are you talking about what makes something different in cybersecurity world at the
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah.
So you're right. The cybersecurity market is very, very crowded, and you can look for one solution and you'll find 10 different people selling it, and it's difficult. Right, it's very challenging. And as you work in different businesses within the cybersecurity world, you see this challenge all the time, but it always comes down to what is unique. Now, you need to identify what's unique to your business, but then what customer profile is that unique to? Because one cybersecurity tool will not be good for everybody. Now, you can find a cybersecurity tool which is for a particular niche, which is that's the Nirvana, right? We've found a tool, it works with a particular customer set, and we sell into that customer set. The mistakes that get made sometimes is that people try and sell to everybody, and it's not the right fit. So you've really got to find your niche, because you're right, the cybersecurity market is saturated. But each business should, going back to the founder thing, right? The founders found a problem which they can fix, but that problem is probably unique to a specific ICP and a customer profile, which they should then be focusing in on.
Amazing. Identify what the unique business is and how to actually apply the various of cybersecurity, the law into the particular business of what they need. And I think this is really key, in that the whole of these are coming into being. And you have to tailor in what will help them more definitely in bringing out everything they are into. And also, for founders listening right now who is burning cash on sales activities that isn't converted, what is the first thing they need to quit doing before any new hire?
So if they've got sales activities they're carrying out now that aren't delivering any results, and then what do they need to change before they go for the new hire?
Yeah.
Quite a broad question, but I suppose it would be going back to basics is what I would say, right? Is just literally what I was just saying about, are you targeting the right customer profile? Right, review your solution. What's your value proposition? Because you could go out and hire a new salesperson, but you'll get the same results because you haven't defined your value proposition correctly. You're not going after the right targets. So before you waste money going after another hire, just take a step back and review what's the value proposition, what is unique about our business, and are we approaching the right prospects with this, and what are the problems they've got, etc. So really build out that value proposition and understand it. Because then when you identify that right customer profile you're going after, that will then lead you to what salesperson you need to hire, because you can't just hire a generic salesperson. You need a salesperson that's got experience in the particular area that you're focusing. So if it turns out after reviewing your value proposition that you need somebody who has got experience in enterprise sales, that's what you go after. Whereas if it turns out that actually your unique proposition is particularly for health organizations which are small, then you need somebody who's got experience dealing with SMEs in the health sector. So that you need to do that groundwork first. So if it's not working, don't just hire someone else. Look at the basics first, what's going wrong first.
Yeah. Review your value proposition, understand it, and from that particular understanding, that's what determines the kind of skills you want when it comes to salesperson. And the underneath, this is really amazing. It just shows that after reviewing the proposition, understanding it, you can spot out where your strengths you look for when it comes to salespersons. So lastly, for someone who has spent years building revenue for other people and is doing the deep thinking you once did about whether to build something of their own, what is the first thing they need to quit waiting for?
Well, I would imagine that if I look at it from my perspective, where I'm currently working on a few projects which are emerging businesses, the challenge you've got mainly is, that fear of failure, right? You've got that worry bead that, okay, well, actually, is this the right thing to be doing? And the cost to start a business now is very minimal. So that cost of potential failure is a lot less than it used to be. When you used to start up a business, you'd have a lot more investment needed. But now with the power of AI and the tools available to us, you can start a business the same day and test it out, right? You can test it in the market pretty much straight away. And there's no cost to that. Only your time and your ability to find that problem that you want to fix with your business. So I think the main thing you need to quit is, one thing, and a lot of people have got this, is fear of AI, right? I know everyone's like, I don't trust AI or whatever, right? If you want to start a business and you're an emerging entrepreneur, embrace AI. right? Use it to experiment. You can build a business, test a business, and launch a business in a couple of days using AI and do it safely as well. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, embrace the use of AI, maximize all you want to. Yeah, this is amazing. So Mike, for my audience who doesn't know what business you're doing yet, can you tell them about your business and how they could connect to you and where's the best path?
Yeah, so I've got my own consultancy called Exceed Advisory. So that's Exceed with EXSEED, Exceed Advisory. So I, as in Exceed Investment, right? And basically, I help businesses to solve those problems you've been talking about, where you're trying to scale, but it's not working. So let's walk it back and look at all these basics. I run a 2-day assessment where I will review everything you're doing as a business, understand your processes, your value proposition, who you've got working for you, interview people, etc. Really get an understanding of what's working in the business and what's not, what you're trying to sell, how you're trying to sell it. And from that, we can then say, right, actually, you need to take these steps now. And that will then help you accelerate what you're doing because you've got to get these basics right. And these are all the things that founders don't know. These are all, and I've got marketing I can pull on other people that I can involve and to help shape that for you. So as a founder who has launched a business and you're trying to scale, but you can't quite get that sales process right, you can't quite get those sales moving, that's where we come in. You can get in touch with me and we can run a short assessment to understand where the gaps are and then advise you on the best way to fix those gaps.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Mike. So for my audience who want to reach out to you, where is the best platform?
So probably the best platform at the moment is LinkedIn, really. Most of my business comes through LinkedIn, and I imagine we can share a link somewhere.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for a reminder that predictable growth is never an accident, and that the best time to build the sales agent is always before you need it to save you. So that's exactly what this audience needed to hear. My audience would love to reach out. I'll check the show notes to see the link to his LinkedIn so that you could actually easily reach out. And remember that staying in someone else's machine when you are about to grow it is never a safe option. Building your own is once again a pleasure and honor. Have you on the show.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a good conversation.